right in with our guest speaker. Crista, stand up and introduce yourself.
Well, you have a question.
If you don't mind, yeah. Whatever's comfortable for you.
Oh, Susan. Good evening, everyone. I want to thank you all for coming out tonight and thank the Community Council for inviting me. My name is Crista Schroder, and I am your candidate for Taft County Assessor. And I feel that I can state this because you voted for me in the primary over an incumbent, and that's not done very often. I have over 12 and a half years experience throughout the county. I worked 5.5 years in the assessor's office, where I was trained and cross-trained by experienced, knowledgeable staff. I spent the last 7 years in the planning department learning more and more about the county as a whole, as well as the citizens. I work on projects for like short plats, creating additional lots, boundary adjustments, and things like that. And when I do that, I have to work with not only you, the landowner, but I also have to work with your surveyor, realtors, title companies, all the departments of the county, health and building and public works, and the assessor's office, and the auditor's office, and the treasurer's office. And I'm able to work with all of these, as well as state agencies, fire districts, water districts, keep them all together and keep them all concentrated on your particular project. And I think this gives me the ability to be able to manage staff. And I have ran my campaign as a very positive campaign. I thought this was really important to do. And I'm not sure how many of you have read the Goldwell Sentinel, but I feel that I needed to address that with you here tonight. Because over the last 2 years, many people have come to me and urged me to run. And one of the reasons they wanted me to run was the way the current assessor runs roughshod over top of her staff, the other departments, and the citizens of our county. And I will not allow my family, myself, to be attacked this way. I'm going to stand up to the bully in the room and defend myself. It's kind of hard for me because I just, really wanted to run on my knowledge, my experience, and my skills. And she has decided to make it personal and to personally spearhead an investigation into our family business, and myself. And I don't think that's appropriate, as well as it's also not legal for her to do that. And I apologize, I'm not completely coordinated tonight. The whole thing of being accused of stuff has shook me a little bit. So my goals, I'm going to go back to my positive campaign policy. My goals, if elected, is to bring a positive team environment into the assessor's office. I can do this because I have the knowledge to train the staff. I have a procedure created to streamline the segregations and boundary line adjustments, as well as the planning process, to achieve timely completions of these projects and the assessor's duties in doing them. I have the knowledge to train staff for legal descriptions so that we can process regular sales quite quickly. I have the knowledge to train the staff on the current use farm and forest programs, as well as the senior exemptions. I have 5.5 years in there, and that's 1.5 years more than the current assessor. I worked have a son who lives and works here in Clickatack County. I'm a fourth-generation resident and small business owner, and we've actually helped quite a few of the community members here in High Prairie, either with pump work or deepening their wells. And my roots are vested in the county, and they're vested with the people. And I think that's very important. I appreciate my family's support throughout this process. I have my husband, my mom, my father-in-law, and all here with me tonight, and they've been with me throughout quite a bit of the campaign. If you have any questions about me, about the office, feel free to come and talk to me anytime, except when I'm in the planning department. And if you'd like to show your support of me, I brought some signs along, so I would appreciate anybody putting up signs. I just want to thank you once again, and please consider voting for me again for Clickatack County Assessor. It's a vote for me, it's a vote for you. Thank you.
Do you want to field questions at this time?
Oh, sure. Sorry.
Are there any questions for the candidate? All right, seeing none, we'll move on. Oh, I'm sorry.
You stated as goals, I heard you list one goal, to bring a positive environment to the office. Are there any other goals that I missed?
Yeah, my other goals are, I have a procedure in mind for the process of boundary line adjustments and segregations and short flats. Right now, there's a multi-step process in place, and it's not working very well. So I have a procedure in mind that will streamline that whole process. And I also have the ability to teach the staff to read legal descriptions, so general property transfers can happen quite quickly. There's a lot of just like small internal things that I plan on doing. The biggest thing is to educate the staff and to have a really positive team effort environment in the office. I think that if you have a positive environment, you can learn your job a lot quicker. And so that's kind of my primary goals.
There's been property value changes in the last number of years, as we all know, with recession and decreased, bit more difficult in selling property. So there's been a decrease in value, and it seems to me that the assessor's office has tried hard to adjust assessments and resulting taxes to reflect the changing values. Do you agree with that?
Not exactly. The goal of the assessor's office should be to reach 100% market value. The market value is based on sales. The problem with what's been happening with the values is, honestly, they're all over the place. There's some 20-acre parcels that are east of Goldendale. There's probably around 200 or 300 of them. And their values range from $13,000 to 40-some thousand to 50-some thousand. That's not equitable. That's not finding the right assessment for a neighborhood. So I personally feel that that has not been the #1 priority of the current administration.
I can speak for myself that I feel it's been very fair that assessments and resulting taxes have been adjusted very fairly through the fluctuation of recent years. And others have said the same. I personally have not heard of people who had difficulty. I'm not saying no one's had difficulty, but in my sphere of information, it's been satisfactory.
So is your original assessment satisfactory, or is your assessment after you call in and have it adjusted satisfactory?
I've never needed to call for an adjustment.
Well, that's good.
I thought it's been fair from the very start.
Well,
You're
that's
just lucky, Myron.
good. Yeah.
That's a fact.
Well, no, I mean, and that's great. It's really good to hear a positive a story, because that has not always been the case. Another example is I have some neighbors that have a newer manufactured home, and their value went up $2,000 or $3,000. That's to be expected. It's a small percentage. It's about what's happening in the Golden Belt area. Another neighbor has an 80s mobile home, and hers went up by $52,000. No improvements. Everything is exactly the same. So I've heard a lot of those stories, as well as, I work within the county now, and so I see a lot of the values that's on property. And I can honestly tell you that they are all over the place. The values are very, very, just all over the place.
Thank you.
When you're elected, how long do you think it would take for you, and a general question, but to really make that office run like a well-oiled machine?
I think I can do the staffing, the teamwork fairly quickly. There's some very, very bright people that work within the office. And I think just having a very positive work environment will allow them to learn very quickly. The issues that I have seen within the database, as well as the issues that people are bringing to me, honestly, I'm hoping, very, very positively hoping that they can be fixed within a year. That's very positive thinking, but that's what I'm hoping for.
Thank you.
Any further questions? Yeah.
What kind of a role does Olympia play in influencing millage rates and assessed values? That's the state of Washington over you.
So are you talking about the Department of Revenue, or just the state as a whole?
I understand the state of Washington does have some influence over the county regarding millage rates and assessed values.
Well, your assessed values are based upon market sales. And then the levy rates are based upon all of the taxing districts' budgets. So, I don't see where Olympia would, play a big part in that. They do send back, the money for the schools and everything, but as far as actually setting the levy rates, that's all done within the assessor's office, and should be done by the administration.
Okay.
Does that make sense, or do you want me to go into?
Well, I hope it does. Yeah, I heard it was the other way around. I heard Olympia does have quite a bit of influence on the county tax rates.
Other than how much money comes back to the schools, no. It's all your taxing districts. Are you familiar with your taxing districts? They're like your fire districts, your cemetery districts, your rec districts, your school districts, the actual county. All of those have a budget. And you take the assessed value of a neighborhood, and the neighborhood's based on sales also, and you divide that budget by that, and that gives you the levy rate. And then that levy rate is times by each individual person's land values and improvement values. So it's not Olympia. The Department of Revenue is there as an advisor. That's their duties as an advisor.
Doesn't the state take some of our taxes? Some of our taxes go to the state, correct?
Yes, it does.
And isn't that amount is levied by the state? I mean, they just,
With the state schools, yes, it is.
state schools.
Yes.
That's kind of automatic. We have no vote in that. I mean,
Right.
maybe that's a different.
Yeah, maybe, yeah.
Pretty high amount too, is it not?
Yeah. Our schools is one of our larger taxing districts. So.
How much, for every 1,000 I pay in taxes, how much of that goes to the state?
I don't know off the top of my head. It
different office.
Yep.
Thank you. Unless anybody else has any questions. Something that isn't on the agenda, I see Sherry Carver's here in the front row. Would you stand up and give me a brief 3-minute introduction? And then if you have questions for her, because we didn't invite Dan Gunkel, the incumbent, you can ask her questions afterwards.
Thank you. Actually, I wanted to come and meet all of you. My name is Sherry Carver, and I'm running for PUD Commission. I'm in District 3, so you did not have an opportunity to vote during the primary. That was just Goldendale and East. Been married for 40 years, lived in Goldendale all of this time. My husband and I started, he's a chiropractor there. We started with our business with 2 of us, now there are 5. We also have another business, we've been in the rental business. Talking about your property values, last year I had to protest 10 of them, and so I know that procedure very, very well. I'm also a general contractor. I've been building since 1997, and actually 96, and I do design consulting. So that's my background. That's kind of where I began. I decided last year that I wanted to run to be your PUD commissioner against Dan Gunkel. He's been there almost 24 years. That's a long time for somebody to be in office, and I really feel that it's time for a change, time for some new blood. There's a lot going on with our PUD, and one of the questions a lot of people ask me, what are you most concerned about? What would you do if you got into office? One is our rates. We used to compare ourselves a lot with Northern Moscow, and we have some investments with them, with the McNary Dam. We have a generator that's in a fish ladder. Well, if you were an average bill, 1,500 kilowatt hours is $100 for Northern Moscow. For us, it's 140. And so they've made some real sound investments. We've made some good investments too, but we've also spent a lot of our money on some investments that have not worked so well for us. So that's one of them. The other is transparency. You know, I feel like a lot of information is not being dispensed from the meetings. You're not getting a full report when they do their minutes. And better communication. I feel like I would mentor better communication within the whole PUD group so that there was more cohesiveness. So there's a lot more I can tell you, but that's about 3 minutes.
Thank you.
Did anybody have any questions?
Thanks.
Thank you.
So moving on to the agenda, the next item of business is approval of the minutes from the last meeting. Did everybody get a chance to what? Okay.
Darlene was also invited to come and speak, but as yet she hasn't shown up. And our guest speaker, Deborah Fenwick, who's going to give the preparedness. This is National Emergency Preparedness Month. Deborah was going to come and give a talk about emergency preparedness. And many of you may not know that she and her husband are long-haul truck drivers. And so they got a job, and so they had to take off, and they're in Winnipeg. So she said she'll come back, she sends her apologies, and she'll see us again and have an even better presentation.
All right. So is there a motion to approve the minutes from the last meeting, Mr. Shadow?
I'll make such a motion to approve the minutes.
I'll second. It's been moved and seconded to approve the minutes from the last meeting. All those in favor?
Aye.
Once again, all those in favor? Opposed? Motion carries. Moving on to the announcements for everybody who has not signed in. There's a sign-up sheet on the table on the way out the door. Please be sure to sign in. And then I also wanted to remind everybody that the video that we're taking of each meeting is available on the library website. So that takes care of that. Moving on to officers' reports, I have one thing that I wanted to bring up. At the September 10th meeting of the Board of County Commissioners, they responded to the letter that we drafted as a community and sent to them regarding the wells that were drying up in the area. And their response was to increase the study amount that they were spending by $6,000. And so it read like this in the minutes. Amendment 4 to Task Order Number 17, Water Resource Inventory Area 31, Watershed Planning Implementation Service Agreement between Clickitat County's Natural Resource Department and Aspect Consulting for the purpose of increasing the scope of work to include a focused assessment of groundwater in the Ninth Dillicor area of High Prairie and to increase the not-to-exceed budget by $6,000 for this task. So I just wanted to make sure everybody was aware of that. And that's all I had, so moving on. Sharon, anything?
All this, nothing right at this time.
Nothing? Barbara?
No.
Treasurer's report.
Well, I just discovered I didn't bring all my stuff, but I can wing it. I just gotta look at it. Basically, our balance that I can report tonight is $23,847.71, and actually, Carver has my report somewhere there.
I did not.
Oh. Anyway, we had a few debits during the month. Basically, we paid for the cleaning of the hall, which hadn't been done for a long time, so it was a fairly substantial amount of $562.50. We replaced a table that was like misappropriated after the firehouse sale, so that was a cost of $38.88, and we had some High Prairie publication expenses of $90.91. Our revenue, we had some rental revenue of $135, and we had some High Prairie subscription renewals, which was about $10, and interest credit of $1.04.
Whoa.
So anyway, our ending balance is $23,847.71. Any questions?
Not for me. Anybody else? Any questions? Moving on then to the fire district report. There's somebody here that could give a report. Fred, are you prepared to give a report?
No, I know there's been a number of things we've been involved with. Last week we went to some interesting training put on by Burlington Northern Santa Fe in Indian about pretty much hazmat type training, hazardous materials transported by the railroad. And we looked at we actually went down to the train tracks and climbed all over stuff and looked at tank cars and learned a little bit about how they're built and what happens when they roll over and actually even how to turn stuff off. But I'm not too sure that most of us want to get that close to tank cars. And we were, I think most of us were pretty impressed with the modern tank cars that are transporting petroleum. When you see the 100 or more car trains go by that are all tank cars, most of those cars are relatively new and they're well built, double wall construction, the whole deal. But they still are transporting a very flammable, hazardous material. I know there's been a number of small incidents. We're still experiencing some fires. There was a potentially pretty serious vehicle accident just like half mile up the road here yesterday. I don't really know the details of that. A single car accident turned over, I would guess, people on Centerville Highway that go way above the speed limit and things happen. So with this rain, it's likely that the burn ban will end and then people will start burning. And just remember, it only takes a few hours of sunshine and wind and we're right back to where we were before we had basically quarter of an inch of rain that we just experienced. So if you're going to burn, be really careful. Remember, you can only burn native materials like grass, brush, not building materials. The pile is only supposed to be like 4 feet in diameter, and you're supposed to have fire tools and a charged hose. And you can only burn during daylight hours, and you need to be present the whole time. You can't just light the fire and go to the store. So anyway, that we usually experience a number of fires at this time of year when the burn ban goes off. And it's also soon to begin hunting season and people start doing little campfires and stuff, and that can be exciting. So just to remind everybody to be careful, questions about, I do know.
Just a quick comment. I think they concluded that that fire started south of Mount Hood was started from a gravel pit. Fire range. Hunters coming up here. Not a story that didn't mean.
36.
Last weekend I was in Northern California. I went through Weed, California actually the second day of the fire. That could happen around here. There were really extreme winds and you could see where the fire was started somewheres but moved through a built-up area, and that's why a whole lot of houses burned up in a hurry. And to make matters worse, when I got to the Bay Area, the big fire northeast of Sacramento, over 80,000 acres. I mean, it was kind of like, it was a nuclear winter, but it was very apparent that there was something big going on. So the end of the fire season is not over yet. So.
All right, thanks for that update. Moving on to committee reports, Sunshine Committee. Anything? Also the Welcome Committee? No. Community Center Activities Committee, Amanda Richards.
We have one wedding that's going to be scheduled to be November 1st, but then it's not going to be open to the public. The other thing is there's a couple members of the community that have a discussion right now about having lunches, so just a very informal lunch for maybe some housebound people to come here on Thursdays for lunch, to have a bag lunch and just have just a little, one-on-one time with some people so they can get out. Nothing's finalized yet on that. So that's it.
Okay. And Winberry is not present this year. So that'll do it for committee reports.
Cool. Did you ask for the sunshine report?
I did. I'm sorry.
I didn't hear it.
I was looking over here, Carol.
I didn't hear. Anyway, Audrey asked, Audrey's involved in music tonight at church, and asked me to report that she sent a card to Florence Johnson. And apparently if there have been illnesses, she has not been aware of it. So that may be good news that everybody's well.
Yeah. Okay, thank you. Okay. Yeah.
Gwen's not here, but I think tonight was the declared deadline. If you wanted to update information for a High Prairie directory, we need your information. And there was kind of a guideline in the last High Prairie about what we need, but please send it in. My wife's going to do redo the directory, but it's only as good as the information that we get. So.
Absolutely. Moving on to unfinished business, the budget update. We took our budget to the last fire commissioners meeting, actually, I guess it was wasn't it the August meeting? And presented it to them. We told them that we were going to cut back on the amount that the Hyde Community Council gave to the fire commissioners this year in order that we could spend that money, in order to spend the money on making improvements out here on the west end of the building. And they were pretty ambivalent about it. They didn't care, didn't seem to care one way or the other. They seemed okay with it. And so that was that. Is there any other unfinished business anybody has? Do you want to say anything about the deliveries out here? The improvements on the ground? Because you know more about that than I do.
I got a hold of the project manager of the Centerville Highway project down here where they're knocking down that hillside, and asked if there was any possibility of bringing any of that rock up here so that we could fill some areas that have been waterlogged about the firehouse sales time. And he was kind enough to bring 9 loads of rock up here. So we've got that. There's four loads that still need to be moved around. 5 loads have been smoothed out. So.
Good job.
Yes.
Thank you. And thank you to Ben for moving it.
Yes.
Along that same line, I think we need to commend Ben Parrish for the work he did to spread some rock, and he did a really nice job with his machine, which he brought down here, hauled down here, and spent quite a few hours doing that. So,
Yay, Ben.
Thank you for that. Moving on to new business, unless there's any other unfinished. New business is Jennifer Webster present.
Hi.
Webster,
Yeah. Hello. First of all, thanks for inviting me to your space. I've never met you before. I know. So, Barb was nice enough just sending a quick email asking if I could, number one, send out my flyer to everybody on the list, or just saying I'm starting my own business, and it's the High Prairies Lady, and just wanted to be a helping hand for the area. Anything that people need, projects, painting, gardening, more so past, but definitely closing up things for the end of the season as it comes. And as fall is on its way, brings more projects, and I'm willing to help out with a melody of things. So just giving me a call and, running things by me, or if you have a really creative idea that you are dreaming of, we can talk about it and see and do some planning. But my boyfriend and I met, we moved up here in the early spring, and I just love the area, and I just really think that the community presence is wonderful here. And so I'd really like to keep everyone up here for as long as possible. So if I could just let me know anyone out, I would like to. Yeah.
How do we get in touch with you? Do you have business cards or flyers?
I sent a mass email to, Barb sent out a mass email on my behalf, but yeah, I don't have a business card yet. I started this up, and people have been, I've just been busy all day. Every day seems like. So right now I'm working many hours at the Lyle Hotel. The new owners have taken it over, and so we're just totally redoing everything. But yeah. So
Community center looks great.
Oh, in the community center in Lyle. But so just community projects, I think it's really neat that this is a rural community and it is active. And even having this building here, when we were just looking at this property, really excited about it, the fact that there was an active community was just really appealing. So I want to be a part of it and help people out, and that's pretty much my...
Do you have a contact phone number?
I do, yes. And I can send that along again, or write that down, and I don't know if you want to put that in your minutes or whatever, but
Well,
I
go
will
ahead.
have business
Well,
cards.
it's up to you.
Go ahead and get it out.
Because it's advertising on the video
Yeah.
for you.
Oh, sure. Oh, then I'm good to go. Yeah. So my phone number, I won't speak it out loud to you, but I will write it down and give me a call, an email, whatever. I don't know, whatever's convenient.
All right, thanks.
Thanks.
So, Ms. Adams?
Yes. Well, Jennifer, I want to say that you'll be contacted for the High Prairie Firehouse sale. You're the one on the list.
I'll put it on my calendar.
So I want to let people know that there will be a community potluck at the community center here on Sunday, October 5th at 1 o'clock. The hot dogs and hamburgers and beverages will be provided by the community council, and we're asking people coming to the picnic to bring either a salad or a side dish or a dessert to share. So anyway, if there's anyone that's wanting to help on the committee to kind of set up the potluck, contact me. Also, the date for the community Christmas dinner has been set for December 6th. Time and details to follow. We've got the cooks for the dinner, so that's the big thing. So everyone welcome.
All right, thanks. Is there any other new business? Yes.
I'd like to piggyback on what Jen said about community. We do have an excellent community here, and I'm very proud to be part of it. We had the 3rd annual Northwest Homesteading Fair that Fern Johnson and I started 2 years ago. We had a very, very good year this year. We had a lot of people donating things, their time, their energy. I really especially want to thank Chris Adam. He put the sound on. It was the first time we ever had sound. It was wonderful. We had intermission music. It was great. Thank you for everybody who came and donated. And we're already working on the 4th annual, so if anybody has any ideas of any workshops they would like to teach or attend, or any vending that they would like to do, I am here, and let me know. Thank you.
Thank you. So the next item on the agenda, unless there's any other new business. Next item on the agenda is request for volunteers for refreshments for the October meeting. Are there any volunteers?
Could you repeat that again, please, Mike? I didn't hear
We're
that.
looking for volunteers for refreshments for October, and I see your wife has her hand up. You can't take those back, that's locked in.
I just wanted to make sure that she wasn't misspeaking. We're in trouble, okay.
So we've got Susan and
Susan and her sidekick.
So October 23rd.
Susan and Nick.
October 23rd?
Yeah.
They'll come up with some really good bills, I'm sure. The next item on the agenda is the next board meeting, which is Monday, October 13th. I encourage everybody to turn out for that. A lot of good stuff going on there. We'll talk about a lot of things. And the last item on the agenda is a motion to adjourn.
Yes. I know this is
What she said.
What she said.
And Amanda second. Amanda seconds. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
Party time.
Great. That was a good meeting.
Yeah.